Yo, what's good, homies? I'm here with my boys, Donnie and Joey, and today we're making a tier list of Sopranos episodes.
That's right, Barry. The Sopranos ended its six-season run in 2007, and superfans like us have been discussing it ever since the infamous cut to black. It set the gold standard for television drama and ushered in a wave of anti-hero-driven stories like Mad Men and Breaking Bad. Joey, do you want to tell our listeners how we selected the episodes for this tier list?
Huh? What?
For fuck's sake, Joe, we just started the call and you already fell asleep.
Hey, I wasn't sleeping, Jack. I just got distracted rewinding my VHS tapes of The Wire. When I was a little boy, my daddy was too poor to afford HBO, so I would buy these bootleg tapes from my guy Corn Pop.
You geriatric fuck, we're talking about The Sopranos, not The Wire. And of course your old ass still uses a VHS player. You seriously don't have HBO Max?
Actually, Don, it's just Max now.
Terrible branding, but whatever, Obama, let's start the tier list.
Yeah, all right. First up, we have The Sopranos.
Oh, The Sopranos, I love that show. Meadow was so hot, especially in the early seasons.
No, Joe, this is the episode called The Sopranos. It's the first episode of the series, and it does exactly what it's supposed to. We're introduced to all the main characters, and the therapy plot is set up well. Not the greatest episode of the series by a long shot, but if you added a couple hours to it, this could have been a movie.
It was well done, sure, but with the voiceovers and music, it felt like a Goodfellas rip-off. That's why it seems like a movie. There were also a few things that felt out of character with the way characters developed. For example, Carmela telling Tony that he was going to go to hell basically out of nowhere felt particularly strange to me.
I agree, actually. It definitely felt like I was watching Goodfellas in that first episode, like David Chase cheated off of Scorsese's homework.
You would know a thing or two about cheating, wouldn't you, Joe?
Careful, Don, we don't want to get banned again. But back to your point about Carm telling Tony to go to hell, I think it perfectly paints a picture for their relationship over the next 6 seasons.
Yeah, and I thought it was excellent writing when they referenced that scene later on in the series when most viewers had probably forgotten it.
If by most viewers you mean yourself, then sure, Sleepy Joe. But hard disagree. In no way is that excellent writing. As this show teaches us, remember when is the lowest form of conversation, and therefore the lowest form of writing.
Fair enough, so what are we thinking, B tier?
I'm fine with B.
Personally, I'd put it in C, but let's settle at B and move on.
All right, B it is. Next up we have College, and I think we can all agree this goes straight to S tier.
S tier for sure. Not only is this the show's first great episode, it's one of the best in the series. We get to see Tony's first on-screen kill, and at the time that kind of intimate violence was unheard of on television. Absolutely groundbreaking.
Not to mention the dichotomy between Tony's personal and professional lives plays perfectly. Every time I restart the series, I'm reminded of how much I love this episode. From start to finish, I think it exemplifies the skill of the writers as well as the core performers.
I don't know, guys. Isn't this the one where Ralphie brutally murders that stripper?
No, Joe, that's University.
Oh, right. This is the one where Carmela tries to fuck the priest. That makes it S tier in my book.
All right, glad we could all agree. Now here's one that I'm curious to hear your guys' takes on. D-Girl.
D-Girl is D tier. If the script for this abomination of an episode came across my desk, I would have crumpled it up and flushed it down the toilet. I hated it the first time I saw it, and I hate it again upon rewatch. It's the only episode that I consider genuinely bad. It's an hour of filler with celebrity cameos and name-dropping. Mad cringe.
I don't know, Don. Personally, I loved seeing Chrissy do coke with Jon Favreau. That reminds me, have you guys watched season 3 of The Mandalorian? That shit fucking slapped. Send the finale episode straight to S tier.
Again, Joe, this is a Sopranos tier list, but Don, I think you're being a bit harsh on this episode. It works as a great companion piece to A Hit is a Hit from season 1, and adds more meat to Christopher's screenwriter storyline, which carries all the way through season 6.
Get the fuck out of here, Barack. You think this episode is good because it complements A Hit is a Hit, or A Shit is a Shit, as I like to call it?
Calm down, Donald. I never said it's good, but I think it has a few things going for it. The Pussy storyline is heartbreaking. We see the inner turmoil he faces wearing a wire to AJ's confirmation. We also see AJ struggle with nihilistic thoughts after reading The Stranger. This is a pretty deep episode.
Fuck Pussy, he made the choice to rat on his friends. You know Phil Leotardo did 20 fucking years in the can?
And soon you'll be jerking off into a tissue too, Donnie. This episode taught me the word bukiak. I call Kamala that all the time, and she has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Ha ha ha. Plus, that red-haired D-girl was a fucking smoke. Fuck the orange one and throw it in C, Barry.
All right, see it is.
Fucking hell, you guys have some dog water takes. Next thing I know, you'll be putting In Camelot in A tier.
All right, Trump, I was trying to go in chronological order, but fuck it, let's talk about In Camelot.
In Camelot is the worst episode ever. I cringe every time Fran sings Happy Birthday, Mr. President. The only part of this episode I like is the ending, with Tony downing his scotch and smoking his cigar with intense music playing in the background. Makes me feel like a badass.
You're cooking, Joey. I also hate this episode and skip every scene with Fran. I feel like there's a deleted scene somewhere of Fran riding Gandolfini like he's pie oh my. Thank fuck Chase didn't subject us to that. But yeah, that ending scene is fire. Up there with other dope endings like in Cold Cuts and Pax Soprana.
And Made in America.
Made in America? Are you fucking kidding me, Joe? That episode should have been called Made in China. It was so cheap and flimsy.
Trust me, we'll talk Made in America eventually. Anyway, I was drinking up the tea you guys were spilling on In Camelot. That being said, I also understand what Chase was trying to do with this episode. We're not supposed to like Fran. She was using Tony the entire time, under the guise of being a warming and positive female figure who gave him a window into his father's past.
Fran forces Tony to reckon with the reality of his father as compared to the image of him in his head. We've been so focused on Livia destroying Tony from the inside, but it wasn't just her. It was everything about his upbringing.
That may be the case, but is it really that surprising? What is the show trying to tell us? Growing up with a criminal father will fuck you up? Doesn't take a very stable genius to figure that out.
No cap, just ask Don Jr.
Fuck off, Sleepy.
All right, boys, I think we can agree that this episode might have something to say, but it misses the mark when it comes to being entertaining and enjoyable to watch. I'm putting it at the bottom. Next up, we have Pine Barrens. Definitely one of the most discussed episodes in the fandom and arguably one of the best. I know it belongs somewhere near the top, but let's talk it through.
Hell yeah, it does, and rightfully so. Pine Barrens has it all. Comedy, drama, horror, and all masterfully directed by Steve Buscemi.
I knew it. You're a total Buscemi apologist. I bet you're all over his dick when he shows up as Tony B in Season 5. That character doesn't even make sense. And we all know Feech LaManna would have made for a way stronger antagonist.
Save it for when we get to Two Tonys and let me finish. Pine Barrens is a classic. It is a standard fish out of water story, starting with Paulie admiring the satin finish on his nails and ending with him having mayonnaise on his face. Kind of like what went down between Melania and I last night.
For me, it's the total absurdity of the episode. Christopher and Paulie keep making everything worse. But best of all, we learn that these tough guys really aren't all that tough. Plus, there is the whole mystery with Valerie. It encapsulates the feeling of dread we get in real life when we are left pondering the unknowns.
You two are both huffing copium. The episode is mid as fuck, and that's a hill I'll die on.
Of course, he hates this episode, too.
For real, Donald, do you even like this show?
Yes, Barack, I like the show. In fact, nobody has ever liked the show more than me. You two just want to talk about the most overwatched and overhyped episodes. Now, let me explain the issues with Pine Barrens. Yes, the 5 minutes we spend with the Russian guy are sick, but the remainder of the episode is hot garbage. The stuff with Gloria is boring and super weird, and I swear the writers turned Jackie Jr. into Kevin from The Office.
Now you're just being contrarian. Nobody gives a flying fuck about the Gloria and Jackie Jr. shit. It deserves A tier for the main story with Chris and Paulie.
I'm sorry, Joe, but if I'm craving a story where two characters are stuck in the middle of nowhere and seemingly beyond fucked, I'll watch 4 Days Out from Season 2 of Breaking Bad.
Sure, 4 Days Out is great, but Pine Barrens is the OG.
And you were the precursor to Biden, yet nobody talks about you anymore. L take, Barry. Put Pine Barrens in B tier, and let's talk about an episode that true Soprano heads will appreciate, something like Commendatory.
We'll pick up there next time, Don. I'll just throw Pine Barrens in A tier so we don't get wrecked in the comments. Peace out, boys. I'm going to roll a fat J and catch up on Succession.
Hey, Donnie, George has The Sopranos Road to Respect on PS2. Want to meet up at his place for a sesh?
Fuck yeah, Joey. Just going to stop at Olive Garden first. All this talk of The Sopranos has me jonesing for a tour of Italy.
Oh, shit. Can you pick me up some breadsticks while you're there?
You got it, bro. See you soon.
See you soon, buddy. Drive safe.